And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to PASCO Laboratories, back here in sometimes sunny California. Not necessarily so sunny today, but I'm JP, and I'm here with Dan Burns. And Dan, can you guess what the P stands for today?
Particulate matter.
It could be, and that's why it's not so sunny in California. Like, the whole state is on fire, and we
orange.
certainly give a lot of thanks to our firefighters out there that are keeping us safe, and please keep up that good work. It has been very smoky, but we're still here. We're safe on the other side of the plexiglass, and no, it's not particulate matter. Today, the P stands for push or pull. You take your choice. Today, the P stands for push or pull. Why does it stand for push or pull? Because we know you've been so desperate for sports that we here at PASCO Laboratories, we're not the NFL, we're the NSL. And what's the NSL, Dan?
Night Saturday Live.
Not quite, no. It's Newton's second
Newton's
law.
second law.
Newton's second law here at the NSL at PASCO Laboratories, and we're going to show you all the great things that happen here at the NSL. Newton's second law, and some great demonstrations that you can do at home with your students doing distance learning. Now remember, guys, today we are live. We're hoping that everything's going to work beautifully, but if it doesn't, that's all part of being live. But you can write in and say thank you, or say hello, or some great questions for Dan. Just write, talk to us. We're with you live. Dan, what do you got for us today?
So I tried to put together something that would highlight each of the items in the Smart Cart demo kit. And there's a lot of items in there, so we'll go over that in a little bit, the whole kit and caboodle, but we go through them one at a time. And the first item we're going to highlight is the PASCO Smart Cart, which is really the star of the Smart Cart demo kit. No surprise there. It does so many things. It measures acceleration with an accelerometer, position, velocity, and acceleration with an optical sensor. It's got a gyro, 3-axis gyro, and a force sensor, often imitated, never equaled. That by itself,
it could almost do the teaching without you.
It does. And I've added the smart fan to it just as an extra mass. We'll use that in a little bit, but we're focusing on the Smart Cart. And you can use it to have your students discover Newton's second law with this modified Atwood setup. So we have a string hooked to the force sensor, going over a pulley attached to a weight, and so that will produce a constant force that will accelerate the cart and the fan down the track, and we can measure the force applied to the cart itself with the force sensor. Not the force on the system, which would be the weight on the end of the string. I don't even need to know that. I can have students just focus on the cart itself, the cart's mass, the force applied to the cart, and they can discover F equals ma. Now, this would be a demo you might do after they've done that lab to sort of reinforce it. I want to know what the mass of the cart and the fan are together. I know the cart is 0.25 kilograms because it's so well engineered. They're all 0.25 kilograms. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the mass of the smart fan is.
But we could figure it out
so
by collecting a little data.
So when I release it, we'll measure the applied force, and we'll get a velocity time graph and get the slope to get the acceleration. But first, I'm going to take the load off the force sensor and zero it. I did zero it earlier, but you always want to do that. It's a little temperature sensitive sometimes. So now we're ready here. I'm going to hit record, and you make sure you catch it before it goes off. So you can see we have our velocity time graph, and it has a constant slope. So that is indicative of a constant acceleration, and we can select that part and get the slope, which is 0.416. And so that is the acceleration. Now down below I have the force graph, which I can get the average of the force, or the mean, and make sure you measure it while the cart was moving, and that's 0.23. And so F equals ma, we want to solve for the mass, and so the mass would be the force over the acceleration. So they're solving for maybe something different than they did before. And I have my trusty AAPT calculator here. And I get 0.55 for the mass.
So 0.55 kilograms.
And so you could then go 0.55 kilograms. You could then go and check it. We're going to do something a little different than that by putting it on a balance. Also wanted to show if I go and measure the force before I release the cart, it's a little bit higher. And so the force before I released it is when the mass is just hanging there on the string, and so it equals the weight. But as soon as I release it, you can see it drops a little bit.
Because the mass is accelerating downward, and the cart is accelerating.
So it was 0.25, which was the weight of that, and then it drops to 0.23. So students can see that, because one big misconception is that the weight is also the tension in the string, and that's not true while it's accelerating. So what we're going to do now is, instead of accelerating with the string, I'm going to use the smart fan. Now the smart fan, we have a whole video on that, all kinds of things about how you can control. The smart fan is really very smart. It's very smart. You can control the thrust, whether it's positive or negative, from 0 to 100, using measurements from the smart cart. But I'm just going to turn it on to the medium setting and let the fan accelerate the cart down the track. We know the mass, I can get the acceleration, we can figure out what the force is from that fan. So we don't need the force graph now, because we're not measuring the force. There it is. So you can see the smart fan gives us a pretty constant acceleration as well, if you let it build up speed before you release it. And in this case, I'm getting 0.219. And so we wanted to solve for the force. Well, that's easy, right? F equals ma. And the mass was 0.55. And the acceleration is 0.219 or 0.22. My trusty calculator. And I get 0.12 for the force newtons, 0.12 newtons.
0.12 newtons, that's the force of the fan.
So we could check that. What if we add mass to the smart cart and fan, use the same fan setting so we know the force, we should be able to predict the acceleration. And so prediction is a powerful thing to include in your demonstrations. Have the students predict what the acceleration will be themselves, and then when they see what it is, and if they're successful, it's a powerful learning experience. So now the mass is 0.55 plus 0.25. And I should point out these PASCO masses are labeled as 0.25. You could mass it as well. Might be a little off. And you get 2 of these with the Smart Cart demo kit. And so 0.55 plus 0.25, that's 0.8. So now our mass is 0.8 kilograms. We know the force is 0.12, and so the acceleration is the force over the mass, 0.12 divided by 0.8. And so it's saying the acceleration should be 0.15 meters per second per second.
So that's your calculation based on the numbers that we've already collected. Right. Now we're going to take that calculation and we're going to prove it theoretically through measurement of the data, correct?
And so we'll turn this on to medium again. And there it goes. And we could show the other run if we want. And so you can see the slope is less for that last run. And what is it? Quickly select it.
It better be very close to what we calculated. If science
when you're doing it
true,
live, right? And so it's 0.18. Well, we were only off by...
And we said 0.15. Now, we've done this like 10 times prior. We've been off by like 100th, and suddenly now we're off just a little bit more. And it might, I get nervous. My hands might have been shaking.
I'm just going to blame that on you, JP.
Just blame that one on me. But it's a very close calculation still. 0.18 versus 0.15 is the calculated. Very close.
So another thing that comes with the kit, another accessory, works with the smart fan, and it's the sail. And so this is a common sort of discrepant event, and it lets you talk about Newton's third law as well. And so why did the fan work? Well, the fan pushes on the air. Newton's third law, the air pushes back on the fan with an equal magnitude, oppositely directed force. But if we put the fan on, and there are two holes designed just for this activity on the smart cart, is that going to make the smart fan work better? Are we going to get a bigger acceleration? Are we going to measure less acceleration? Or is it going to be the same? And so have your students predict it, make sure they write it down, tell them, even if they're not sure, if they predict it, they're more likely to learn from the experience. So put it on.
So I've watched enough cartoons to know exactly how this is going to work, Dan. I'm going to turn this on, and when I release it, it's going to go flying off. It is flying off. I think
What did you do wrong here?
I think we're on a little bit of a tilt on the table.
I think we could say it's going slower, though, right?
It's going slower.
Normally, it doesn't move
It doesn't move at all. I think something is slanted here. Nolan, check the earthquake.
Oh, yeah.
See if
What happened to our track?
It's tilted a little. Something has tilted.
So you will do this. There we go. So
Right.
as a physics teacher, you know you can get this to work, right?
It should work.
So the
should
next
work
part
as long
is-
as this isn't slanted a little bit,
Yeah.
right? So it's sitting still. It's definitely moving slower. It's not moving at all.
So the fan also has been engineered to be flipped around. See. So when it's flipped around, have them predict. And again, in our practice, it didn't move at all.
Right.
So-
Remember, it didn't move at all.
So now it's curved, and so it's up to you how much you would tell your students about that to make their prediction, but it is going to make the air hit the fan, and then some of it's going to curve back the other way. So how will that change the motion? Let's fingers crossed this time.
Okay, and let me put it here, and
Now it's supposed to do that now.
it's actually moving this time.
So
and it should be
and
moving
that
this time.
worked every time too.
Right.
So what's happening is the air is hitting the sail and some of it is bouncing back this way. So it's kind of around in California, we know that's similar to a concept used on the Pelton water wheels. So when something hits something and then bounces back, the change in momentum is greater than if it just hits it. And so the applied force, average force is greater, and so the net force is in this direction. Or you could just think conceptually, what's happening, some of the air is moving this way, hardly any of it's moving that way. So it's almost like turning the fan around.
And it's a great way to demonstrate it, of course, when it works.
So
But there are
let's-
other great things that you can see. It's not just taking a look at what that fan can do and taking a look at motion. We've done everything so far, F equals ma, but sometimes you want to actually see those forces or the acceleration or the velocity, and you'd like to see it displayed in a way that is intuitive and obvious. And so we have this little thing called the vector display, which attaches right to the
Want to
smart
get
card.
that on the Atwood. So we're going to put it back to the Atwood machine, and now we are going to visually show the acceleration. But to do something a little different as well, most of the time when students do this lab, they're always just letting the cart go and letting it go down the track in that direction. But we can do something a little different. We could give the cart an initial push in this direction. And so obviously when JP is pushing it in this direction, the acceleration will be in this direction if he pushes hard enough. But then it's going to slow down and stop, turn around and go back the other way. You're giving away the answer there. Well, you want to make sure it's working, right?
I want to make sure it's working right. Yes.
And so the students wouldn't see that until you do the demo. And so I have them predict what direction will the arrow that shows the acceleration be pointing when it's slowing down on its way in this direction, right when it momentarily stops and turns around, and when it's going back the other way. And to give another representation, I can measure the velocity like we were doing. So whenever you're ready,
Can you tell me?
go ahead. There you go. And let me stop that, get rid of that other run display. So the arrow always pointed in that direction once JP stopped pushing on it. And so the net force was in that direction, the acceleration always in that direction, whether it was slowing down while going in the negative direction or speeding up while going in the positive direction, or what is the most confusing thing sometimes to students, at least early on, when it momentarily stopped. The acceleration didn't change, and I can also show that with my velocity time graph. The acceleration is the slope of that line, and it's a constant slope the whole way, even when the velocity is 0 there in the middle.
Beautiful slope. Beautiful demonstration and nice data. So we saw it both on the display and we saw it graphically collected. And we're able now to see how vectors work. But that's not all we can do with the smart cart in this kit. We've got a question coming in, Brett.
Yes. Comment from Mark. This is a great demo, but you learn by doing. Do you have explicit student protocols and data sheets?
Oh, in other words, do we have a way for our students to do this at home? You know, this is a great time to talk a little bit about what you've put together for them, Dan. We're going to show you the ballistic cart, but I want our folks to know at home that it's not just demonstrations that we're doing here. Dan has already put together a full, complete, colored manual of 16 demonstrations, and it comes with the answers, it comes with the student sheets, it comes with the configuration files, all of which are online. I'll show you where at the end of the program here, but I'll show you where all of that stuff is so that you can do this. You get the smart cart, you get this kit, but you get this great thing that Dan put together with all of those activities. Those activities are all ready for you to look at today, and I'm going to show you where shortly.
So if you buy the smart cart demo kit, this comes with it.
Comes with it.
But we want you to be able to use this, whether you have our equipment or you have some of this. You can get this from our website, and JP will show you
it's
that
free,
later.
actually, today, and I'm going to show you where it is. But Dan, another demonstration that we see often is with this, what we call the ballistic cart. And the ballistic cart is a very common experiment. It's an experiment that we've seen a lot of people do to demonstrate how motion and momentum and different impacts of Newton's law work here. And we're going to show it again with the smart cart.
So the ballistic cart accessory attaches to the smart cart, only works with the smart cart. And it has a spring-loaded plunger that will launch this ball much higher than any other product that does something similar. And you can do it by a timer release, so you can use this with any, actually I was wrong there, you can use it with any carts. But there's extra things you can do. You can have it come out based on measurements made by the smart cart. So we'll do that next. But first, let's just do it on timer release while I hold it. And it should go straight up and straight back in. Now it was a little off, and I did that on purpose because we have a no bounce pad in here. And so when it hits that, it's an inelastic collision and it doesn't bounce out. Actually, if it comes straight back in and hits the spring, sometimes it'll come out, but you can tell it was a good shot when you do that.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
So it came straight up, so the spring's launching it straight up in the air. It's going to come straight back down, but if I give it a push this way and let it coast at a constant speed, there's no way it's going to land back in there again, right?
Well,
probably land behind it.
No,
Whoa.
no, it landed perfect. You even skidded off the track and it landed perfect.
Yeah,
Dan, you're good at this. You're good at this, right?
So another demonstration, sometimes the students kind of follow the motion with their eyes and don't really see that both things are moving in the X direction at the same speed while the ball's in the air and when it's with the carts. So a way to sort of demonstrate that is to set this to go off at a certain position. So I'm going to have it so it launches when it gets to about here, and JP is going to hold his arm over at just past that, and it should go right over his hand.
So now we're actually using the smart cart. Whoa! Oh, wow, that's awesome. Off the track and still caught it.
I'm giving it a push.
Yeah, giving a little push there, but
if that one, I'm willing to trade that one working for the little bit of problem we had.
This is terrific. This is why you got drafted
cart.
in the NSL, Dan. That's why you were the first pick draft in the NSL.
Now, we've gone through everything in that kit except for one thing you might not even pay attention to, but it's maybe not as flashy, but it's very useful, and it's the smart cart rod stand adapter. So it just attaches right to the smart cart and lets you use it like you would your old force sensors. And if you didn't have a force sensor, now you do. And so let's just do a quick simple harmonic motion demonstration. So I have this set up to measure force as a function of time. And I'm going to zero the force sensor, so we're seeing a display of the net force on the mass. So I've got that. Oh, that was right. And I'll give it a small amplitude there. Well, it's not too bad. And if I hit start, we see a beautiful
Sine wave.
Sine wave.
That's a beautiful sine wave. Simple harmonic motion seen both visually, measured, and displayed graphically. And this is going to get us into all the great aspects of the spring constant, the K constant for the spring, and being able to determine all those aspects, correct?
There's a more elaborate simple harmonic motion demo in here where the cart is, we're using the output from the smart cart. It's on an incline. Check it out. A lot more elaborate. What's good about this one is no damping or very little damping. When it's on an incline, it damps a little bit, but I think that's, to me, that's my favorite demo in the book. And we also do it in
16
one
of your
videos.
favorite demos in that book. And so you get 16 of those favorite demos in the book, but it's not just the demos. Get that kit today. And Dan, if I bring that kit over here, and I bring that kit, hold that kit up, of course, it comes with that great manual with 16 things, with all the digital files that are online. If I move this away, tell me what all is in this kit.
So the lid there had charging cables, and then the cables that attach the accessories to the smart cart, and the sail. Then you have the ballistic cart accessory, the rod stand adapter, the smart fan, the vector display. You also have a bumper and other accessories for the smart cart, and batteries for the smart fan. And then don't forget the star of the show, the smart cart, which comes in red or blue, and you can order it whatever
in either
color
color.
you like.
We have both colors here. You take your pick, and you can get that complete kit with all of those things that you see here, plus 16 great activities written by Dan, for you to be doing distance learning at home. And I'm going to show you where you can find that stuff for free. Before I do that, and while I'm mentioning free, we had our folks following us on social media and had an opportunity to actually win some of these smart cart demonstration kits. And Dan, we have 4 people who have won these smart cart demonstration kits. And I know you want to know who they are.
We're giving away
people.
4 of
We've got
these?
4 people,
Wow.
and so I hope they're watching. I know that they are good customers and good people to follow us on social media. And of course, if anybody wants to follow us on social media, please do like us on any of your accounts, and you will have opportunities to win some of this great stuff that you see here. But let's announce our winners. You ready, Dan?
I'm hoping.
Are you hoping one of them is you?
Yeah.
Well, let's find out, because our first winner is Dr. Deborah Mason-McCaffrey. She's from Salem State University in Salem, Massachusetts. Congratulations. You'll be getting this at home, because we understand that you're working from home and doing these demonstrations just like we're doing here. You can do those at home. Our second winner is Miss Sheri Donovan. She's at New Trier Township High School in Winnetka, Illinois. Congratulations to you, Miss Sheri Donovan. And of course, we had to do a little bit of research trying to figure out what that mascot is, because we found out that your mascot is the Travion. Do you know what a Travion is?
Something you serve dessert on? Or
No, you would think so.
don't know.
No, the Travion was actually a soldier from the city of Trier in Germany during the Roman Empire. So there's a whole little bit of history there, but congratulations to Sheri Donovan, and some great history we learned while learning about you. Our third winner is Miss Juliet Puno. She's right here in the sometimes sunny state of California at James Garfield High School, home of the Big Bad Bulldogs. And she'll be able to work with this equipment from home doing these demonstrations just like you could from home doing these demonstrations. And we took a far stretch for our fourth winner, because we went all the way to the University of Lima, the Universidad de Lima in Peru, Mr. Ivan Perez. Senor, congratulations. You are also the winner through our partner, Bionet. We'll be supplying to you one of these great smart cart demonstration kits. And of course, if you want to see some of the things that you saw here, of course, you can watch this again. We post these for you on our website, but Dan has all of these demonstrations done in great detail. All you need to do is go to our website, go to the product page, scroll down a little, and you will find these demonstrations. Dan did a great job today, but he goes in much greater detail. Watch that video, see the great things you can do. If our winners or anybody that gets these, by all means, watch that video. You'll get some great insights, great insights on all the great things that can be done. And you want to know where you can get these things for free, the stuff that Dan wrote for free. All you go on that same page, you go to that product page, you click the little tab that says Experiments, and you'll see some opportunities for some samples that are there. But if you click, you see that little thing that says Collection, View the Collection. If you view the collection, all 16 labs are going to pop up. You open those up, they're free, everything is there. Student sheets, teacher sheets, as long as you have an account as a teacher, the teacher materials are there, along with the great configuration files that are available so that you can do these. Just follow along with Dan, watch the video, and you'll be able to do that too. And so we hope you enjoyed what you saw here. We hope that you get one of those kits so that you can do these demonstrations from home. Remember, you can contact me anytime. We love to use your pictures. We love to hear from you. We love to give things away for free, don't we, Dan? We love giving things away for free.
That's a lot. I'm still stunned by our generosity.
You're still mad
today.
because you weren't one of the 4, but there are other opportunities. Just follow us on Facebook, Dan. If you follow us on Facebook, you'll have an opportunity like any other of our folks out there. You'll have that opportunity. Now, you want to know what the promo is this week, and we've got a phenomenal promo this week. Dan, do you remember what the words were, what the promo words were for this week?
Push and pull.
Push and pull. And why is it push and pull? Because our own sales director, Isaac Martin, is, with a little help of his wife, giving birth over the next day or two. So the magic words, push or pull, we're sending out to Isaac Martin. And if you write Isaac today and say, congratulations, Isaac, on your push and pull, he's going to give you a great, wonderful opportunity to get this kit. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to do distance learning. Reach out to Isaac and tell him, congratulations on your push and pull. We're all rooting for you and looking forward to seeing that great child when it comes. But if you don't have an Isaac Martin or a little baby Martin, it's okay. You might be one of our international customers, in which case, just reach out and check us out on our website, find out who your international partner is, and say, I want this demonstration kit. And just as a shameless plug, if you like watching Dan, like I like watching Dan, you can watch Dan do 15 straight weeks of these types of demonstrations and activities right in our PASCO Academy, where Dan's the lead teacher. So if you want to let Dan come into your classroom and do this teaching without having to even make the purchase of the equipment, Dan's ready to do that. Check out the PASCO Academy and know that you can check out any of the things that we've done here at PASCO Live at our website. Take a look at all of the great things we've been showing you each week on what you can do with distance learning with your kids and with your students. And so thank you, Dan, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And thank you guys for joining me today. And Dan and I and all of us here in the studio wish you the best of luck, great teaching, and good day.